Schmidt. How are you guys on this brisk morning? When I say brisk, it's -6. Alrighty, today's agenda, we are in Sioux City, Iowa. We kicked off that load from yesterday, the load that came from Montgomery, Alabama. We're gonna fill this trailer up. We're gonna drop this trailer. We're gonna go home. Yeah, I think I'm ready to go home. I think I'm ready to get inside and warm up a little bit. But first we need to talk about what I'm gonna do to FirstClass to fix that air leak. My hands don't want to work. I sat there trying to put the cap on the reefer tank there. It just wasn't going well at all. Holy smokes. I guess if you're gonna come to Iowa, you just will be prepared, right? You know, there's a subscriber on here from Alaska, and he keeps putting comments how cold it is up there. I think I'd last about 2 minutes. And I'm a big fluffy guy. I'm not fat, I'm fluffy. No, that's just big boned maybe. Either which way, I wouldn't last 2 minutes up there in Alaska. It'd be pretty, but cold. Well, if you haven't been following along this week, you're probably wondering what air leak am I talking about. Behind that bracket right there is a rust hole, basically. Oh yeah, and that's another thing. With this new fifth wheel, gotta have a fifth wheel puller. Just gotta. I haven't picked one up yet, but that's where I missed my joust. Up, over, out. This one, you gotta yank. Alrighty. I'm gonna finish unhooking this. Then we're going to talk about the airbag, or the air tank. But first, before we talk about that, let's talk about the fifth wheel. Alright. We just put all that on before we left. And I got to tell you, the way that thing is built, I love it. I mean, you don't realize how bad your fifth wheel is, your fifth wheel slider is, until you replace it with a brand new one. And I got to tell you, I am nothing but impressed with that slider. The fifth wheel itself is a Holland. Now that Holland it was a used one. They took it, they completely rebuilt it, then put it on the truck because I wasn't willing to spend $1,800 for a fifth wheel that when my old fifth wheel was just fine, if you guys remember me telling you that. So I don't know if it's the rebuilt part or what, but every Holland fifth wheel I've ever had on a truck, if you don't have a puller, you're not going to get that. You have to have a puller because you need that little slack in there. This one is absolutely no different. Luckily, one of the guys up here at the yard had a puller on their truck. I stole it off of their truck, pulled it, put it back on their truck. But other than that, love the way that thing is mounted. Love how solid that thing is mounted. Now, let's talk about this. I'm sorry guys, I'd shut the truck off, but it's -6 degrees out, so I'm not shutting anything off. Well, even the German's kind of cold. The air tank leak. The air tank leak is caused because of, well, I already told you why it's there. So I did some calling around to get a new air tank. The new air tank for that truck is almost $800. Once again, just like the fifth wheel, I am not willing to spend $800 for an air tank with an itty bitty little rust hole. So, my local weld shop to the rescue. I gave him a call. I said, hey guys, can you patch a rust hole in an air tank? Yes, I chickened out. It's too cold outside. They said, yeah, we do it all the time. We patch air tanks constantly. Actually, they said, yeah, we can patch that up, no problem. Well, if it's going to go to a fabrication shop, why not go all the way with it? That air tank has always been in a screwy position, which means we need to get back out of the truck. Does that make any sense to you guys? No, it doesn't to me either. Why would you put the air tank back there straight behind the other air tank instead of using up real estate that was really easy that you could use? Yep, I'm gonna have them move that air tank, put it in between the fuel tanks and not right there. And that's gonna give us a nice clean look. You know what I'm talking about, that nice clean frame look. But as for right now, the air tank's got to get moved. So, needless to say, I'm not going to be doing that repair. Just for the simple fact, it is going to be for a high of, I told you last night, 2 degrees. Well, today's supposed to be 15. But from here on out, it's supposed to be 2 degrees for a high. And as everybody knows already, I do not have a shop. And I'm not going to lay on the ground to fix that air tank, let alone modify that air tank. But I am kind of proud of myself. I'm going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We're going to fix the air tank and we're going to modify the air tank to move it around. As for right now, no, we don't need fuel. We have plenty of fuel, but with the temperature supposed to come down, the truck's going to be parked for a few days, so you want to make sure the tanks are full. And then I got the fuel, can't talk. You want to make sure the tanks are full, and you want to make sure that you put diesel treatment in them, because, well, if you don't, you're going to regret it. Now, if I was going to stay trucking, FirstClass right here wouldn't shut off. We'd go home, we'd park it, and she'd run all weekend. But we're going to be parked for 3 days for sure, and that's judging that they can get everything done that I want to in that time frame, because we have Tater Tot has a jazz choir thing that I need to attend on. Yeah, I need to attend a jazz choir concert. Then she has something going on Saturday with speech. Then Warden wants to get a new mattress for the house. I'd like to get a new mattress for the truck. So guaranteed at least 3 days FirstClass is going to be parked. So we're going to make sure the fuel's doctored up. We're going to make sure the tanks are full. But like I said, she'd be sitting here running probably all weekend if we were just going to turn around and leave again. Which is a good thing of advice to give you guys. Let me finish up fueling up. I'm going to give you guys a little advice. Alrighty, that next little piece of advice I wanted to give you guys is that just be careful. Next week is going to be a very cold week here in Iowa. Probably, I'm betting it's going to be cold all the way east and probably cold in the west. Heck, it's probably cold all over. But it's just going to be very, very, very cold. I see a lot of guys on the side of interstates with tow companies or service trucks trying to get their trucks running from being gelled. I see a lot of service trucks inside truck stops trying to get people's trucks running after leaving them off all night. Now, I know everybody needs to save fuel, but now's not the time to save fuel. Now's the time to keep your truck running, I'd say, just for a week. Just keep the darn thing running, keep that fuel doctored up, and you won't have a lick of troubles. Now, in the wise of, if you're a company driver, guys, I've heard stories that a lot of companies, their trucks won't idle once the brakes are set. And I have a buddy of mine, his dad used to always set the trailer brakes. Then he could idle his truck up to leave it running at night because the company didn't want to let it run. They thought it'd be cheaper to get the truck started by a service truck or get the truck ungelled than let the truck run all night. I know, there's no logic there. And one other thing, when you get fuel in cold weather, try to fill the truck up when you have at least a quarter of a tank in the fuel tanks. That way there is some warm fuel that you're putting that cold fuel into. And then when you start your truck up in the morning, if you decide to shut it off, Sit there for a couple. You're gonna need a couple hours. Let that motor, let those fuel heaters get nice and warm. Let that fuel get warm. That's just my little cold weather tips I'm just gonna give you. I'm about to fall over. Let's get first class down to the shop. And just like that, we have a change in plans. We are going to repair the air tank. We are not going to relocate the air tank, which is fine. I just I need more tool, or I need more brackets, or I need more air lines and such, and it's just not going to happen right now. So we're going to repair the air tank. Don't worry, it's all pressurized, the whole works. They are professionals. Then we'll get back on the road. Hi, Mom.
Hi, son.
Mom is my taxi today. Usually Father is my taxi, but he is at home right now.
He's with the daycare.
He is with the daycare kids. He is with the daycare kids.
You and Jax.
What is it with my family and McDonald's?
He wanted me to get him McDonald's for lunch.
Why does everybody in my family eat McDonald's?
It's handy. That's all that's around here.
Oh, very true, very true. Alrighty, well, I am disappointed, but I will live. I am a big boy. Well, there you go, guys. First class is fixed up, no more leaking. I was a little concerned if a person could weld those tanks, because when I called the dealership asking for prices on the tank, they were wanting like $800 for it, if I remember right, 700 some. And boy, they were pretty advocate on, you can't weld those. You're getting in trouble if you weld those. So I made a couple calls. I called the Iowa DOT over there in Des Moines, and I asked them, I go, if I have this tank professionally welded and they pressurize it or pressure test it and they do all that fun stuff, am I okay to fix it this way? Because we're not talking, it's not ripped in half or nothing. That DOT officer over there, because they have one that sits over there and each other chats, he said, hey, as long as it's done by someone who knows what they're doing and they pressurize it, they pressure test it, that's all they really need. And well, as you guys seen, it was done by somebody that knows what they're doing. That boy knows how to weld. He really does. Really does. Well, we're gonna head home now. Do you guys think paint would stick at 15 degrees? Probably not. So we're gonna have to wait to paint it all up, make it look pretty until we get somewhere warmer. You think we'll go somewhere warmer? Probably not. We'll probably run a few local stuff next week, and yeah, we'll see. Maybe we'll run out to Indiana or down to Kansas or do something like that, because I need to be home for next weekend too. Anywho, I'm rambling. Boy, you think they'd shovel up and snow blow back where I park? No, they didn't. So we're gonna go grab the snow blower. We're gonna clean that up really quick. That way, usually I'd just drive on top of it, guys, but we're not gonna do that just because it just keeps snowing and snowing and snowing and snowing. I was hoping to bring the snow blower through here. I don't think I'm going to be able to. And for those of you that are wondering, yes, I did fix my snowblower. Well, I didn't. My daddy did while I was gone. It does now have 2 new shear pins, so actually everything does work good. I messed with it a little bit while I was waiting for the truck to get done, and cleaned the whole curbside up. Yes, that's my nasty little secret. I got a snowblower for I could have a straight curb during winter. You know how the snow goes like 2-3 feet out? No, not mine. It goes right down the curb. That's how I roll. Boy, I would have loved to record that, but it just went so fast. What are you two doing? Oh, you're fine. Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Get him, Jax. Get him, babe. Yeah, get him. Get him. Boy, I don't know if I'm gonna have to put the chains on the snowblower. He kicked butt, took names, or however you're supposed to say that. Of course, this is frozen snow. You know, there's no moisture in this. It's just too cold to be sticky. So it goes pretty good. I'm gonna finish up this little piece, then we can wrap this up, plug first class in, and done.
What the heck? Snuck it. It's cold.
What are you guys doing?
I'm gonna bite you. This is like the 5th time today I've threatened to bite you.
I just never get a truck in the front of my house, and I was just wondering what was up.